What's going on, guys? Maul here with Jackalmen Games, here with the winner of the Birmingham, Alabama regionals for Star Wars Destiny here at Card Addicts. This is Daniel, and what were you playing today?
I was playing the ever-popular Vader Greedo, which I kind of tweaked a little from kind of the list that won last week, but definitely can't claim it as a totally original idea.
Well, I mean, it's a great pairing. We had a total of 11 Vader Greedos, but we had a lot more than that for Vader-wise.
Sure.
I think we had a total of like 15 Vader decks here, which is crazy out of 58.
And what's crazy, too, is I actually, until the top 4, I didn't play a single Vader mirror.
Man, the only thing I didn't want to play against was Mill. I played against 3 Mill, and I wanted to play against Vader, because in testing, I killed Vader, like, turned round 1 every time. And I was just like, okay,
if you leave Greedo stranded, you've probably won the game.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the deck.
All right, so the first thing we got is pretty much cut and dry, Vader's Fist. I think everyone is aware that that card is broken as hell.
If you open, you win.
Yeah, sure. And you know, there's going to be other combo pieces in the deck that let you get it out, but even if you just simply have your Theed Battlefield, power action it, roll out a Vader 2, this is in your hand, you hardcast that. It does that much damage.
It's totally worth it. You don't mind. Like, it'll make up the damage.
Sure. Now, and I think what's interesting about this, you know, with the power action, with spotting a Darth Vader, you have to turn to any side. Can be a disadvantage. You have to turn it. Can't stay on where it stays. But it's a good finisher in certain points of the game. Before rolling out Vader, before activating naturally, you just power action because you know you're going to spin it to lethal and make the opponent deal with it.
I got you.
Upgrade suite, Darksaber, Mauls, pretty standard. 2 Vader Sabers, and then I've got a Vibro Knife.
Okay, so whoa. All right. So why did you choose to play 1 Vibro and 1 like these at 1? I understand why this is at 2. But
sure. So yeah, the Vader's is 2 because it's good. Because you want it.
It's Vader Saber.
The Vader deck's interesting because he doesn't need that many upgrades to kick butt, but obviously more upgrades on him help. When you're running the other package I've got, which is Rise Again, which lets you pull things essentially at a discount or for free, depending on how you want to look at it out of the discard pile, or Friends in High Places, you want a few more big guys in your deck to go along with the Vader's Fist, to go along with your Vader Saber. So that's kind of how I came to Mauls and Darksaber. Since they're unique, I figured 1 each in case they all hit the table and you can make Raid Boss Vader. It is what it is.
Whoa!
The Vibro Knife is kind of interesting. So I play tested a lot with a guy named Albert, who was the #1 Swiss winner in Atlanta on Vader Greedo. You interviewed his brother, I think. You probably have a deck tech up on him.
Yeah.
But we kind of jammed that Vader deck for a while, and Albert played a deck a lot more aggressively than I did. He was running 2 Vibro Knives. He just wanted to roll out and kill people.
He just wanted
to press the failure first action. Yep. So I decided to stick with 1 Vibro Knife. I know some people run on Yieldings or some other kind of shield or Force Illusion hate. The Vibro Knife for me works well. In most decks, you know, you don't get that much unblockable value out of it, but in this deck, even the 1 becomes huge when you're adding the modifiers for the Vaders or the Mauls. And obviously the modifier works really well with Vader's big number, Vader himself. So as a 1-of, it worked. I don't know that I ever won off unblockable damage today. And most of the time, you're not going to want to play a 2 resource off the bat because it's going to starve you on resources too much. But there are times where it can win you a game.
Okay, well, I appreciate that in-depth because, like, I just learned so much because I'm not a Vader player. I don't want to play Vader. But being that I have to face Vader so much, even if I feel confident, that's a good knowledge for my mindset, like going into those matches.
And originally, just while we're on the upgrade, so this deck went through a bunch of iterations in the past 2 weeks. I've been tweaking it, changing it constantly. This rotated between 2 of these, 2 Treasured Lightsabers, 1 and 1. Treasured Lightsaber is nice because it cycles for itself. It lets you do crazy things with Vader's power action or rerolling or whatever. At the end of the day, though, the 2, I know it sounds weird, 2 drops will feel weak in Vader, so 1-of is probably enough.
That is very true.
All right. So how are we going to pay for all this crap, though? Because you don't want to always resolve Vader's 2 resource side, though it's not bad.
You playing Chance Cube?
No,
we're not playing Chance Cube.
So first off, we've got the No Good to Me Dead, which is a very counterintuitive card. You got to do damage to your opponent, then you say you can have that health back, and you get resources.
That's what Greedo's for.
Sure. Now, you resolve that Greedo in direct, it goes to the wrong guy, heal him up. You fear and dead men and you're not ready to kill a second person, heal him up. And the other thing is, at first I did not like this card. I wanted to play the deck more aggressively. I wanted you to be dead before you had a chance to do something. Then I said, all right, I'll test it a few times, try it. It is amazing.
Loved it.
It lets you get out these 3-drops. It lets you get out Vader's Fist turns 1. It can give you a life-saving Rise Again. It's heal up to 2, so if you only need the 1 resource, there are situations where if they have, you know, they have 3 health remaining, I can heal them for 1, put them at 4 health remaining, and then I can resolve the Vader 4 for $1. It can set up death as much as it can set up ramp, so it's definitely an essential card, I think. If you're not going to run these, you could run something like Truce, but given your opponent resources can be scary.
So, actually, it's a funny thing that you said that. Ryan, who you faced in the finals,
Sure.
he didn't play this card. He played 2 Truce and 1 Well Connected. Because he had the opposite mindset. He didn't care.
And I'll tell you this, Ryan played really well. I love what he did with the deck with Bazine and the different ramp resource package, but that resource he gave me with Truce on game 1 probably wound up costing him the game. It let me hard cast the Dark Saber turn 1, and that thing just started doing massive, whether it was more resources, more discard, whatever it may be. Whereas this would have not done that.
Right.
Friends in High Places, pretty self-explanatory. I think most Vader yellow decks are running it. You got big things. Vader's got big dice that let you activate it. You play them off the top. That
Not
said,
all he has as big.
that said, though, you don't have to be, let's call it a size queen with it. You don't have to go straight for value. Sometimes it's situational.
You can hit a Fearing Dead Man. You can hit Rise Again, or whatever you need.
There was actually a game, I think it was game 1 against Ryan in the finals, where I top-decked a Price of Failure. If it wasn't against Ryan, it was against the guy I played in the top 4 who was also in Vader. And I said, you know what, let's go for it. And we used Price of Failure to Greedo off the top. It was at that point I wasn't getting any ramp value for it, but it was cycling through the deck and getting me to exactly what I needed at that moment. It's also a May, so if you totally whiff, don't need to play any of them. Boundless.
I love this card.
I love this card too.
As soon as you pulled this out while we were getting ready for the deck today, I was like, I love this card.
So I won't say I rose to prominence or anything, but I was doing pretty good. When I started getting into Destiny and started playing Destiny, one of the first decks I did well with was the old emo kids, whether it be Kylo Vader 2, and then Kylo 2 single dice Vader, which is actually what I played here last year. This combo is great with Price of Failure. That's about all there is to say about it. When you Price of Failure, you still want to have cards to reroll on the reroll out. Originally it was a 2-of, but I wasn't getting enough value out of it. Who doesn't like the cleave? I'll leave it at that. Price of Failure is an interesting card.
Same thing.
Sure. Who doesn't like to roll out Vader twice? I usually refer to Greedo as a 7-health bubble shield anyways. He's really not important to this deck.
The only time I ever feels bad is I was playing Dooku Townsend. I was testing it beforehand, which we had a couple here today. And I was teching Snare in the deck because I wanted them to Price of Failure
and then just snare them back.
So snare them back down, and it's one of those. I want you to negate.
Now,
it feels really bad.
If you're going to try to throw a Price of Failure deck together in a world where people are playing coercion and stuff, you've got to be really careful. You don't want to get stuck passing your whole round or having to kill Greedo at an inopportune time. If you see yellow villain across from you and you have POF in your hand, pitch it to reroll 0. Roll out Vader first action so that if you do have to play it, you still get value.
I got you.
Okay, this card.
How good was this card today?
This card was ridiculous, and they both went in yesterday. So I was not a fan of this card at all. It's slow, it costs resources, it doesn't do what Vader wants to do. But then Mill reared its ugly head last weekend. And I listened to a couple of podcasts, watched some videos, and people were all about this card. It is amazing, it can cycle other cards that also cycle. So it's I won't call it an auto win against Mill, but it's a pretty good silver bullet. Even outside of the Mill matchup, it is phenomenal. If you have the extra resources to burn, sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. If you have the extra resources to burn, this is an extra card every turn because it draws up.
And so essentially what you're saying, if you have the extra resources, it doesn't feel bad.
Right, correct.
It's kind of like Stifle. Like you feel bad to play it, but after you play it and you see what it does for you, you're like, oh, this is amazing.
Not only does it make you essentially a 6-card hand every turn, it makes those Force illusions way better when you're worried about milling yourself down because it keeps recycling.
Yeah, we gotta get you to your interview.
I got you. Rise Again, again, self-explanatory. You heal
Illusions.
nukes, force illusions. Who doesn't love those?
Let's take a look at this mitigation.
All right. So most of these are pretty self-explanatory. I went with 6. I've seen Vader lists with as little as 3. Some with as many as 8 or 9. Vader's a tank. He can take damage.
Yeah,
so you don't know he's...
Yeah, and in testing, like, James, he plays it, and he was like, Vader doesn't care.
Right.
Vader doesn't.
Until Vader's down to 4 health, he's not worried about it.
And technically, even though you only have 6 mitigation cards, this card like makes it like 8.
Correct.
Or 10.
And that, again, is part of that anti-mill package I started running. Being able to cycle it, draw it back with meditation, cycle it again.
Yeah, because I seen that you didn't play Ancients because
right.
you weren't caring. You're just like, I got this.
Right. And then finally, CQAs.
How insane was this card?
There were plenty of games that did really well. I won with a mill in my top 8 match. I crippled opponents in other matches. Some people aren't fans of it in Vader because oftentimes he only has 1 upgrade, maybe 0, and so he's at most going to get 2 or 3 cards. But at the right time, it does work.
It does. It puts it in.
Yeah.
Not nice either.
Yeah.
But well, guys, this was Daniel's first place regional Vader Greedo deck. I really appreciate you letting us see this list and us hearing your thoughts on why you chose what you did. Let's get you to your interview, but
sure.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, bye.